details about the program and how to apply. A couple of guiding principles for this program. The expenditures must be compliant with CARES Act, which to some degree says that you are spending these funds as a direct result of COVID, whether it is to pay for lost revenue or future expenses. It must be consistent with the county's response and reconstitution goals, which means protect the health and safety of the community, support all people and communities, facilitate community economic recovery. It should be consistent with Project Rebound, which is a chamber-led community initiative that talks about how we can recover locally with our economy, and we want to provide aid to small businesses. Here's a quick program overview. We would like to provide grants up to $50,000 using CARES relief funding to small businesses in Albemarle County. In order to be eligible, you must have at least 2 employees, be a for-profit business, have gross receipts of at least $5,000 in the last 2 years, operating for at least 2 years, have a current Albemarle County business license, be current on your business taxes prior to March 1st, and be physically located in the county. A couple of differences from our previous grant that we wanted to highlight is that home-based businesses with 2 employees are now eligible. And that means that an owner is considered as an employee. So you can have 2 owners, or you can have an owner and employee to qualify. Again, home-based businesses with 2 employees are now eligible. If you received a grant in round 1, it does not preclude you from having a grant in round 2. However, the total amount of grants cannot exceed the economic harm or future expenses for your particular businesses. Because we launched a Safe Spaces and Places program with eligible expenses being at $5,000 to $25,000, there are some potential expansions that would not be funded under that program. So our team wanted to make temporary outdoor expansions of less than $5,000 also an eligible expense for this particular grant. So if you're a small business and only needed to buy 1 picnic table, 1 umbrella, perhaps 1 space heater, and it wouldn't account for $5,000 in expense, you could submit that particular inquiry through this program and potentially be eligible for a grant. We still have similar businesses that are not eligible. The ineligible businesses include if you're self-employed with no employees, if you're a bank or financial institution, if you're a franchise that's not locally owned or operated, or if you're in the vape, tobacco, gambling, sex-related industries, or weapon manufacturers, you are not eligible for a LIFT grant. The application process will again be administered by the Community Investment Collaborative in concert with our staff. You must provide proof of COVID-related impacts, disclose other funds that you have received, submit some tax forms, and create an application narrative including changes to your business plan in response to COVID-19. We'll begin at, the application period is now open. Applications are due by October the 19th, and we expect the grants to be awarded in early November. Sometimes it takes a few days to process electronic transfers as well as get information entered. So we hope all the grants will go out in early November. Be patient with us as we work through the process to transfer funds. And if you have any questions, they can be emailed to economicdevelopment@albemarle.org. That's economicdevelopment@albemarle.org. Or you may call us directly at 434-972-4016. That's 434-972-4016. I have a question in the chat I'll address. If one employee is only the owner, are you still eligible? The answer is no. You must be an owner. You can have an owner and an employee, or you could have 2 owners, but not an individual employee. Let me repeat that answer because I think I didn't make that clear. If you're an owner only, you are ineligible. If you were an owner with an employee, you would become eligible. Or if there are 2 owners, you are eligible. Could steady contracted workers count as employees in a self-employment scenario? Note we have written the language so that it must be two employees. We have no open questions. At this time, I'm going to ask Stephen Davis to introduce himself and talk about the role of the Community Investment Collaborative. And then Stephen, if you'll introduce Rebecca after you're finished, she can talk about the support the SBDC can supply.
Sure. And what I'm going to do, if JT wouldn't mind, I'm going to share my screen for a second to show people the platform, just so that it's familiar to people when you come through. So most of you have been to the Albemarle County website. You probably saw this page. It had information about the LIFT grant. The very first step you should do, if you have not already, would be to submit this inquiry form. This inquiry form will go to a page like this. We'll have the requirements. Put your information in here and click submit. That is the first step that everyone needs to do to start this process. So once you've done that, within usually by the next morning, if it's a business day, if it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it'll be Monday morning, you'll get an invitation from LenderFit, which is an secure online portal that looks kind of like this, that will invite you in to apply for the grant. And so once you get into that portal, you'll get in and you will see an application that looks like this. Albemarle Business Lift Grants, and you'll have several different steps to follow and things you'll need to submit. So if you were to click on, say, the grant application and click start the form, the kind of longer form will pop up with all of the questions that you need to answer. And so you'll submit those pieces in there and answer all of those questions and submit it. Once you submit it, you will get a email. Refresh here, an email that will have the application for you, and the application will be saved in the portal. And then you can move on to just follow the steps. So for eligibility, we'll need you, this is where you submit proof that your business has had an economic injury. Economic injury, as Roger was mentioned, can be one of two things. Either you had revenue loss, so you submit bank statements or financials that show you had the loss, or you had specific COVID-related expenses, and those expenses you would upload for that. So if you adapted your business and needed to build something, or if you had PPE expenses or things that were specific to COVID, that's where you would include in those. For the then form 941 is showing how many employees you have. So if you're just two owners, you can send a message in there like this and say, we have two owners and no other employees, so you wouldn't have a 941, and you can click send, and that message will be uploaded into the portal. And we will respond. That will be sufficient. If you have employees, larger grants will go toward companies with more employees. So we encourage you to upload your employee count so that we can get that information. Upload a copy of your business license. That can be as simple as, click here, and then just upload from your files. And it will upload automatically for you. And then your 2019 business tax return, which should have been filed at this point. If you filed an extension or some other thing that have it, we might need you to do that, and we might have additional follow-up questions. And then for use of grant, it's important that we note that that's separate from your eligibility. Use of grant is how you plan to use the funds. If you had a loss of revenue, say of $12,000 and you get a $10,000 grant, that loss of revenue is what makes you eligible, but then you commit to using those funds on any one of these eligible purposes. So payroll could be an eligible use if you had the loss of revenue to get there. So, so that's, you would upload kind of those documentation that you had those expenses and so forth in here. As you complete the steps and our team reviews it, I can't do it at the moment because I'm logged in on this end, but the steps will show up as complete, and a check mark will appear beside them. And so you can, that'll let you know that you have completed it. And if you have questions, or if we have questions, we will send you a note using the message piece through the portal. So you would get a message, through kind of this piece. And it would, once you've logged in and into the portal, you'll get email or a text notification if you choose anytime information is submitted. So once you've completed all of the steps, we will mark this step application is complete, and then you'll just need to wait for the complete review to happen. And that's what, as Roger mentioned, our goal is to complete those by the end of October and notify you of the decisions at that time. So that's the portal. By signing up on the interest form that I referenced here, will get you the invitation to get in. So this is really the first step you do, and then you wait till you get the email, and the email will come from LenderFit to invite you into the portal to take those next steps. So with that, I'm happy to answer questions for folks on how this works, or any other questions that you might have.
Stephen, we do have a couple questions, probably best directed at you or to you.
Sure.
I received a first round grant. Do I have to repeat all of my information for the second round?
The eligibility in the first round included injury from March to June, and now we're looking at March to September, since the first round was a couple of months ago. So it probably would be good to go ahead and submit those the kind of additional information with it, just for us to keep it all separate. So that would be helpful. And if you run any challenges with that, just shoot us a note and we'll work with you to get it
So
done.
that's a yes, they'll need to re-enter their information and expand. If they have additional harm that happened from June to September, they could add that, and it would increase their it could increase their eligibility for reimbursement.
Correct.
Okay. The second question comes in. I submitted an inquiry form on October the 5th, but have not yet received an invitation to apply. Check LenderFit and it's not there. Please advise.
All right. So we'll follow up with you offline on that to see what had happened on that. And also for if it's Jefferson Area Board of Aging, that's for the community lift grants, which is for nonprofits, I believe. And so we will, I'll make a note to check with that and follow up with you offline on that.
Yeah, it'd be a good time to reiterate the lift grant that we're talking about is for-profit businesses, for-profit businesses. The community lift grant is for nonprofits. So if it has the word community in it, nonprofit. If it does not, it's for-profits. What is the time period in which funds must be spent? All funds must be spent and all projects must be completed by December the 30th.
Yep. Keep in mind that even if your expense, if you're awarded a grant and you get it first week of or November, eligible expenses, once you've met the requirement, can be expenses you've already incurred since March. So you could go back and, because you got a grant because of loss of revenue, cover a payroll expense that you had in August, and that would be acceptable once you meet the requirements for the grant.
That concludes all our questions, Stephen. Thank you. And Rebecca.
Let me introduce Rebecca real quick, just on that. So Rebecca Haydock is with the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center, part of CIC's larger team, and the SBDC is available to you if you need help with your application or questions on parts of it. So Rebecca, do you want to give them a little bit more background on that?
Sure. So we are the Central Virginia Small Business Development Center. We have several financial advisors who are available to help with applications, help you get through the process, also talk to you about eligibility. and they will be on call during the period of this LIFT grant. So if you'd like to give us a call, and if you dial our number, which is 434-295-8198, and listen to the prompts, you'll get to extension 3. If you hit extension 3, you'll be connected directly with a financial advisor. And if that person is not available, of course, you'll get voicemail, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. But just want to let you know that we are here. We can help you get through the process if you have any questions or need help putting together your financials. And if you also want to try to reach us through our website, that is cvsbdc.org, which those all sound the same, which stands for Central Virginia Small Business Development Center. And again, the phone number 434-295-8198.
And I just put that in the chat box for those of you who are paying attention for both of those.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Rebecca and Stephen. We're here to help, and very much appreciate that you are as well. With that being said, we'll find out if there are any final questions from any of our participants.
Yeah. JT just mentioned to me, Roger, when you receive the grant, and you there will be a requirement that you submit a short follow-up report in the early part of 2021, just confirming that expenses were made and that the status of your business. That'll be easy. We'll make it easy and very seamless for people to submit those reports. But because you're receiving grant funds that are public funds, obviously, Albemarle County government is accountable for them and wants to make sure that folks use them properly, and obviously that businesses were benefited from it.
Thank you, Stephen. Seeing no other questions, thank you for any participants who are here. We're glad you're expressing an interest, and we hope we're able to help you in the near future. Thanks for joining us, and that concludes our call.